Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to tonight's episode. But before we get started, we just want to let you know we're tired of the lag too when we listen to these episodes, especially you, Zach. But good news is next week we are doing our NFL Draft special. Friday morning, we will be releasing our first ever in-person episode of us watching the first round of the NFL Draft Thursday night. And yeah, that's that.
Original.
You're going to get to see just how fat and unathletic we really are.
Exactly. Well, anyway, enjoy tonight's episode, everyone. Good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, whenever you're listening to this. You're listening to Fat Unathletic Nerds Talking Sports, the sports pod with Dad Bods. This is Lonny alongside man Darley and Zach Danielz. Boys, how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic today. How are you, Jack?
It's pretty good. It's pretty. Oh, you said Jack. My bad.
And how are you?
Whatever. You gotta go.
Yeah,
I'm doing well. How about yourself, Zach?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you doing, Jack?
Yeah, I'm doing good. The Rangers did pretty well the past weekend. I mean, at the time of this recording, they're trailing at intermission, but whatever. Still pretty good weekend. And yeah, Brick Walters will hopefully be joining us in about 20 minutes or so. But we'll get to that when we get to that.
Slacking.
So speaking of the Rangers, Dan, I gotta say, if they're gonna stay in the playoff hunt, they needed to win those 4 games against the Devils. End of story, and they did just that.
You know what, though? It was a great 4 days. Igor Shesterkin, back-to-back shutouts against the same opponent. I think it's the first time in a very long time the Rangers goalie has done that in back-to-back games against the same opponent. We saw Mika Zibanejad and Pavel Buchnevich on their birthdays perform well. Buchnevich with a hat trick on Saturday, and Zibanejad scoring the game-winning goal with the dying minutes in regulation on Sunday. We saw Vitaly Kravtsov even score his first NHL goal. After it was denied initially in the second game, he got it back on Sunday at the Prudential Center. So it was a very good weekend. But, I do have to say, though, despite this win, I do have some concerns about the New York Rangers and how they played this series, especially the last 2 games.
I guess you could say that considering, they did let the Devils back in the last 2 games. But at the same time, the window's not open yet, and they're still in the playoff hunt. And I'm hoping they can bounce back tonight against the Islanders. But, this is a game that's asking a lot of them.
What, though?
Islanders are a good team.
The last 2 games, the weekend series, they remind me of the Rangers of the old. I mean, pretty much the last 2 games actually in full remind me of the Rangers in the old in every aspect. One, since as long as I've been a Ranger fan since the 2003-2004 season, all I see the Rangers do is pass the puck. In the beginning, they got lucky. A couple of good passes, couple of nice shots on goal, a couple of good plays generated. But eventually the opponents figure it out because that's all the Rangers do. And I think that's all they've been doing in the last 10, 20 years.
Yeah, their issue is they pass too much. Sometimes they need to just be selfish and just take the shot.
Exactly,
but
and that's the problem. I remember seeing some plays. I remember one play in Sunday's game, Alexis Lafreniere had a great shot on net, just shoot the puck, but instead he tries to make the pass. The Devils break it up and advance it towards the opposite of the ice. And another thing that kind of worries me is that, yes, they got lucky. They did blow a 4-0 lead, made it 4-3. They bounced back after letting up 3 straight goals. And then on Sunday's game, they were up 3-0 and lost 3-3. And this reminded me a lot of the 2006-2007 New York Rangers. This was a team that was notorious for having early 2-0 leads and blowing it and losing 3-2, 4-2, 5-2. They just can't secure a lead. I remember that year. I think there was a point where if you took all those games, they would have been the President's Trophy winners that year of how many times they've blown 2-0 leads. All they had to do was secure a lead. And that's the problem with the Rangers going forward. This is a team that has to learn that when you're up 3-0, you keep it up 3-0. And they have a couple of I can't speak right today. You see, that's how crazy they're getting me. Like, I should be enjoying a 4-game New Jersey Devils, but I'm not. Because of how they played the last 2 games. When you're up 4-0, you keep it 4-0 and you extend it. When you're up 3-0 with minutes to go, you keep it going and you extend the lead. I mean, look at what's coming up. Tonight they're playing the Islanders. They're playing 2 more times this year. They're going to be playing the Flyers, who are 5 points back behind the Rangers, and anything can happen right now with how close it is. 5 points, in hockey is like 2.5 games in normal sports terms because NHL, everything's by points, not win-loss. You got a couple games against Capitals, a couple games against the Sabres, who have won 3 of 5. I know it's shocking to say the Sabres winning, 60% of the games in the last 5 contests they played in. There, they made some big trades to further whatever it is, rebuild, mess up, screw ups. I don't know what it is, but they got a new coaching. It seems to me like they're a new culture, so they can play spoilers. And then you got the last 2 games against the Bruins, who they're trailing right now by a couple points in the standings. So if they cannot maintain these leads, then they're going to be screwed come playoff time. Because the point is, when you have the lead, you want to maintain the lead. Don't give this team an incentive to come back.
Well, I'm not going to panic like you are right now, because the thing is, that 06 and 07 team, that was, if I'm not mistaken, their window was wide open, or at the very least, that was like the prime of their contention. That this team is still learning, they're still growing, and let's take a look. I'm looking at NHL.com right now. This team, the Rangers, allowed the 8th fewest goals in the league, and, now I'm waiting for the screen to load, and they scored the 4th most goals in the league. So, yeah, if they miss the playoffs, they're victims of circumstance, really, just the way that this year is and how, division
exactly. But if they're going to miss the playoffs, I want a hard-fought valiant effort.
Of course, and you are getting that up from them. You are getting that from them.
Problem. What the series showed the Devil is that there are weaknesses in their game. They pass the puck too much. Their opponents are figuring out. Even though it's the same opponent, this is something they've been doing the last 10, 20 years. They're going to eventually figure it out, and they're going to adjust their defense accordingly when the Rangers go in the attacking zone. And then another thing is that the Rangers, up 3-0 early in the game. It shows that they're going to get sloppy. They're going to rest. They're going to pull back, and they're going to play a more conservative approach to their game. And that's what allows teams to come back. They allowed the New Jersey Devils, a team that recently traded Kyle Palmieri, Travis Zajac, a team that has PK Subban in the lineup, who is the PK Subban that many people don't recognize anymore. What happened to this guy? He was one of the best defensemen, but then he leaves Montreal and he doesn't become the player that we thought he was going to continue to be. I mean, you have young goaltending. You have the youngest team in the NHL. You have a team that is the worst in the penalty kill. And yet you allow them to come back in back-to-back games. Now, granted, you're playing 4 straight games in a row. Eventually, things will figure out. But now you're playing the big boys. Now you're playing the teams that are going to make or break it. And this is something they need to work on. They need to learn how to take the shots, and they need to learn how to secure the leads. And that's why I should be happy about this 4-game set, this 4-game sweep, but I'm not. If they cannot maintain these leads,
I'm still happy about it.
Be lucky. They could
hey,
have
Dan.
Games are up 3-0, 3-1. The team brings it back, and the Rangers end up winning the game. But then now it's the playoffs. You're gonna have that same mentality. Once you get out of the division, boom, you're done.
But hey, Dan, I gotta say this. Jack is way more positive about this.
If the Rangers were in 6th, 7th, 8th place, like we're beginning of the year, where after the first game of the season when they got shut out at home to the New York Islanders, I thought, okay, this is gonna be a year where they're just gonna rebuild. They're gonna use COVID.
They still are. The window's not open yet. This is the year, if anything, at best this year, if they could somehow squeeze into the playoffs, and you know what, go to the playoffs, get your ass kicked. It's okay, because you know what, you're so young. This team still has a lot of guys coming through their farm system, like Nils Lundqvist, like Braden Schneider, like Morgan Barron, just to name a few. But yeah, if this team was in their prime, window wide open, I'd be as concerned as you are. But we're in about year 2 or 3 of the rebuild. We're still kind of in the early stages of the rebuild. And you know what? They're kids. They're going to make their mistakes. Let them suck now so they don't suck later.
Jack. Dan, I gotta say, it's good to hear Jack sound a little bit optimistic. It's kind of funny hearing you be the one, after Jack's rant on the Jets on the first episode, or second episode it was. It's so clearly I think the Rangers will have just make it to the playoffs. Tell me then, as someone who's not watching hockey as avid as you guys, it sounds like, from the Flyers' perspective and what Steve's told me and what I've heard from just sources, the Flyers are kind of going down, but the Rangers sound like they're going up from what I'm hearing from people. So it's if you guys can get to the playoffs, you got to be in it to win it. It's the way I look at it.
They're probably not going to make the playoffs this year, unfortunately, because of the way this year's set up. Yeah, but that's not indicative of them. That's just they're victims of circumstances. Their conference, their division, has 6 good teams if you include them, and only 4 of them are going to the playoffs. So,
yeah. See, when there's too many good teams, and it's like, then it's like none of them are they all like pretty equal? Would you say everyone's rather equal, maybe a little a notch above the other?
I'd say so, yeah.
Here's a good question, real quick. Who do you think is going to be in the playoffs in that conference?
Boston. I don't know. The Islanders, the Capitals, the Penguins, and right now it's a toss-up between the Rangers and Bruins. But ultimately, I think the Bruins have 2 games in hand. They're up 2-0 right now in the Sabres, and they're just a more experienced team. As much as I'd love to see the Rangers, I think I'd still have to go with the Bruins.
I agree too, and I really do think, looking at the remainder of the schedule, like I said, 3 games against the Islanders, 2 against the Flyers, Caps, Sabres, and Bruins to close out the year. 11 games left. I think optimistically they can win 7-11, but realistically they're going to win 5 of 11 because in a lot of games I think a couple of these games will go into overtime because I'm thinking realistic. But the problem is the reason why I get so mad and so upset with the Rangers right now, especially with the way they play, is because it has been a repeated formula. It's a new roster, new coaching staff, but it seems to be the same formula. When you're on the breakaway, pass the puck. When you're up 2-0 early in the first period, take it easy and let the other team score on you, let the other team make a comeback. And that's something that has been bugging me. It's different.
I feel like this is the first time that's happened all year. That happens to teams at least once.
That's the thing that bothers me about this team so much, and that's what I'm seeing right now. You won 4 good games against one of your biggest rivals, and it's a wonderful thing. But the last 2 games, you raised more question marks than answers. And if you think when you play teams like the Islanders and the Bruins and the Capitals, if you're gonna keep passing the puck willy-nilly, and you're going to take it easy when you're up big early in the game, it's not going to pan out. And this is yes, it's a learning experience. Yes, they're part of a rebuild. And yes, it's crazy now because there now is a chance because at the beginning of the year, they couldn't do anything. Now they're showing that, hey, they can make the playoffs and they could do something. They could be a sleeper. Who knows? Maybe they'll make it and play the Islanders in the first round, get a run for their money. That's great. But at the same time, they need to learn right now that this is the same formula the Rangers have been doing for the longest time. They need to stop it now. I'm tired of the Rangers going up 2-0 in the first period and saying they're going to lose. Or I'm tired of, we're on a breakaway, shoot the puck. Oh, he passed it. Oh, it's broken up by the defenseman. It's going the other way. Oh, look,
well, from what I've learned from this, is it sounds like it would be a good season if the Rangers just even make the playoffs. So,
listen, no matter what happens, this is a good season for them. And listen,
really?
Kids,
no matter? Good.
Okay, one more thought before we get into the coin toss, Dan.
I gotta say respect to I gotta put a lot of respect to the opponent, the Devils, because this is something I wish the Rangers had done when James Dolan took over his team. The Devils are an organization that knows how to build a team from within. They have limited resources, they don't make the right trades, and that's why they had this dynasty they had in the late 90s and early 2000s. And it even continue on too. Even they went to the Cup but lost in 2012. But even still, around that time before Brodeur left, they were still a competitive team on the ice with that trap defense.
Yeah.
The Rangers, on the other hand, the Rangers are just learning what the Devils have been doing for the longest time. The Rangers, all they did was just buy mercenaries and get these expensive acquisitions, spend top dollar, and then find out that these guys can't even play together or way past their prime. $100 ticket in the nosebleeds to see them lose 4-2 on a Tuesday night game. That's a game they should have won 3-0. It's terrible, but you know what though? That's something I respect with the Devils. I look at guys like Mikhail Natsev and Yegor Sharangovich. I had to write down because I want to make sure I pronounce their names correctly. They impressed me in the last 2 games. These are good prospects. I think they're going to help Nico Hischier, help Jack Hughes, Mackenzie Blackwood and company lead the Devils to future success because I'm confident. I look at the Devils team and I say, they're struggling now, but they're going to build a good team. They know how to do it from within. It's something that the organization's known for. They're going to build, and they're going to build a great team. They're going to build a competitor. Not maybe a contender, but a competitor for years to come. The Rangers are just learning this now, and I hope it sticks. But
it's better late than never.
They need to stop their old ways by passing the puck all the time and blowing 2-0 leads.
All right. Well, before we get into the coin toss, I just gotta say this, Dan. The kids, they gotta learn to fail now, so they don't fail later. So that's why
And you know what though? I don't want to
You
have this
bad.
argument again in another couple of years.
Okay. So
We're
anyway,
living in our Hollywood mansions as the great funts that we are, watching the game. Like, come on, I ranted.
I'd have
about
to get
this
out of
in
New
the
Jersey.
apartment in New Jersey over and over again for blabbering about this, and you still make the same mistakes. Come on, I do not want to see that. So let me get mad now so they can shut me up later instead of me getting mad now and keep being mad for years to come.
all right, so let's get into our first topic of the coin toss.
Woo!
Yankees, still a playoff team? Yes or no? I will go first. I'll say that they probably are a playoff team, but at most a wild card team. But I will go as far to say this. I don't think this team is going to win with this core. I think they had something great after the 2017 season. All they had to do was make a few tweaks, if anything. But they decided to make a huge drastic measure, make that blockbuster trade for Giancarlo Stanton, when in reality they didn't need him. And that pretty much changed the dynamic of the
They
team.
did Derek Jeter a favor.
Say it again, Dan?
They did Derek Jeter a favor. That's why we got Giancarlo Stanton.
Basically. But yeah, they didn't need to do that trade, and I think they've been suffering ever since for it. But yeah, playoff team, at most wild card. I don't see them winning the division. I just think the Rays, they play small ball, they're much better managed, and like I said, I don't think the Yankees will win with this core, because they had something great and just decided to mess it up for, the long ball.
Well, one of your highest paid players strikes out 35% of his at-bats this season. And one of your guys retires because, sad to see Jay Bruce go. I was rooting for him to have a comeback year. Sad to see him go. He was a great locker room influence. He was a good person. He had a great career. Good luck to him. I was actually there at the game when he hit his first home run as I met against the Yankees.
I remember seeing you on TV when you put the picture.
Yes, I remember.
It was a fun and cute little 2 years he was with the Phillies. That was fun.
Yeah, so you know what? Like, he had a good career. Maybe it wasn't like Nola Ryan or Pujols or anyone like that, but he had a good Major League Baseball career, and we wish him best of luck in retirement. But, having said that, batting 118 with 13 strikeouts and 34 at-bats did not help his case at all. You know what? Like, going back to Giancarlo Stanton, it's funny because there are 7 players on the Yankees right now. This is as of Sunday's loss. 7 players on the Yankees batting 196 or lower, okay? The team batting average is 210, okay? And those players that are batting under 200, include Gleyber Torres, Giancarlo Stanton, and Aaron Hicks. Like, that's mind-boggling.
Yeah, this team doesn't know how to hit for contact. Looks like we got Steve Walters joining us very soon. Hold on, let's see if we could get him in here.
Oh, here we go.
There he is. You just jumped into our first coin toss. We're talking about the Yankees, whether or not they're a playoff team. I just told Dan, I think at most they're a wild card team, but I will go as far as to say they will not win a championship with this core.
Now, another thing to know is that you mentioned that they are going to make the wild card. Well, turns out history might be on their side. I mean, in a good and bad way, because the last time the Yankees did start the season 5-10 was in 1997. After they win the 96 World Series, they start the season 5-10. They ended up winning 96 games that year, making the wild card, but losing to the eventual AL champion Cleveland Indians.
Yeah, and speaking of the Indians, Brian Cashman he did have a press conference to try to quell things down, be like, hey, everything's okay. But in reality, it's basically like that meme with the dog in the room on fire. This is fine.
Yeah, basically. I mean, but here's the thing, though. I will say, because I like to be more laid back. I'm a little bit more laid back, especially when it comes to baseball, because it is a very long season. How many games have we played? Like, I'm going to wait until at least a month and a half in to make some hot takes. But I am a little confused at how bad the Yankees look. Like all around. They can't hit in situations like when runners are on runners in scoring position. Pitching is getting shelled here and there. They can't hold leads. I don't know how. And 7 batters. You said 7 batters under 196 or batting under 200. That's fucking bad.
No contact.
That's insane.
I can't believe I'm writing this information down. I mean, this is probably one of the most expensive payrolls.
And you know what, Giancarlo Stanton, like everyone was so like hot on him hitting like these huge dingers, but then you start realizing the guy just swings 4 dingers and that's it. Like I feel like when I watch him at bat, he swings so hard, and I get it. Like, but he misses a lot. It's honestly Bryce Harper does it a little bit sometimes, but Giancarlo Stanton is like he's like boom or bust every time at the plate. And I don't know, Aaron Judge kind of feels that way too, but not as but you know that's when he's on the field. Not nearly as bad.
The Yankees can't hit for singles and doubles. They swing for the fences, and that's their problem. You have 2.
Hey, you know who does hit for singles and doubles? The Tampa Bay Rays.
Exactly, Tampa Bay Rays.
And
Tampa Bay Rays, I think, are going to take over the AL East.
Ooh, do I hear a beautiful small ball versus slugger brew debate going?
Yeah.
This is right in my wheelhouse. I will play for this small ball game all day long. In fact,
I totally agree. You need base hits.
Absolutely.
What did Billy Beane say? You got to get on base. I'm paying
Absolutely.
you to go first.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of people said that.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the Yankees have this gigantic payroll, while the Rays are worth like 2 bags of potato chips.
Now, here's some other interesting stats I'd like to point out. So, Giancarlo Stanton, he leads the team in strikeouts, 176 batting average, and as of Sunday, leads the team in RBIs with 12. Okay?
What?
Yeah. He leads the team in RBIs, but that's under 200 and struck out 35% of the time this season so far. And here's another thing, because, we talk about, you look at the numbers and you think, oh my goodness, it's the pitching. The pitching with the Yankees is god-awful. It's terrible. Garrett Cole, and that's it. But in reality, the pitching is top 10 in multiple categories.
I know they're just doing bad right now, and I don't get it.
They were 9th in ERA, 2nd in strikeouts, 10th in opposing batting average, and 8th in walks and hits per inning pitch. But the reason why they lose all these great scores is because they have the 28th ranked defense. They've committed 12 errors this season. Okay, 12 errors, and that puts them 5th in the league. And they have they're 28th in the league in fielding percentage. So of the 64 runs they've allowed this season so far up to Sunday's game, 54 were earned, 10 were unearned.
Wow,
dude, I love that you're gonna. Oh wait, you're not. Are you in a Yankees jersey? Are you in a Yankees uniform?
Actually, I am wearing a Trenton Thunder jersey.
Oh, so close enough. It's just funny. You're just like pulling out the stats on them, like immediately, just like telling the team how bad they're doing right now.
But
love
it. It's baffling because this is a team with a very high payroll. You have power hitters, and people want you through the gate to dominate the AL East, and you're not. You're 5 games out, like 4 or 5 games out of first. You're playing poor. You have so many players that can't even make contact with the bat. Like we can't even get a single out of them.
Yeah. How are the Orioles doing?
The Orioles, they've actually lost 7 of the last 10. They're a little bit ahead of the Yankees.
What?
They actually showed some great promise, but they've lost 7 of 10. So they're going back to they're going back to normal now. They were on this little bit of a high beginning of the year. They lost 7 of 10. They're going back to the Orioles, that we all know, a team that's probably going to lose 120 games again this year, with some potential to do great things moving forward in years to come. But right now, I think the Orioles are going to get back to reality. And I think the only saving grace right now is to get back into the AL East right now, is that the Orioles are going to get back to reality, and the Toronto Blue Jays being the Toronto Blue Jays. This is now.
They're murking the Marlins right now. So.
What was that?
Yeah, Bryce Harper with a little infield single.
So.
Nice.
Bryce Harper with a
and I can sum up
single.
Problems with one word with the Yankees. They are soft. The team is soft. And it's just that you have all these names, you get all this money, and still they're soft. And you know how I know that is Aaron Boone finally stepped up and ripped into the team, and the next day they laid a stinker. He laid in last Friday night. The following Saturday they stunk. Total blow. So
it was
come on, man, they're soft. The Yankees are soft.
Yeah.
It's an embarrassment to the game.
And you're sitting here embarrassed. The Phillies just snapped an 11-game hitless streak from their starting center fielder, or any center fielder. 11 straight games.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Are you kidding me?
I think the Phillies are a good team, but right now this center field position is, and I had hope for Mickey Moniak. I really did, and it's just.
Well, he's the one that just broke the streak, thankfully.
Everybody, I know, but I mean, he's still not looking good. He's still not looking good at the plate. And I mean, like, as long as he's not striking out like Roman Quinn is all the time. But that's a hole for the Phillies right now. Should we go to the next coin toss topic?
Yeah, I was gonna say next coin toss. We go from
good segue.
Yeah, go from the Yankees to the Phillies. Aaron Nola, is he an ace? Yes or no? Brick, do you want to start?
Yeah. Why is this even a question? How do you say no? I actually want to know. I'm assuming it's Dan. How can you say no?
No, Steve. I put that up there because I wanted to talk about this. I put this on there because I wanted to talk about this. So if anyone doesn't know,
literally since
if you don't know that Aaron Nola is, for people that don't know Aaron Nola well enough, I've been watching this terrible. They were terrible when he joined the team. He has been the only bright spot for like half a decade, the only one. And if you didn't know it, that 10 strikeout, full complete shutout, that should have been enough for you to realize, okay, this guy is for real. It doesn't help that there's a lot of games. I feel like he has good games, and then at the end, at like the 7th or 8th inning, he gives up like a backbreaking home run or like just like a 2-run shot to tie it up to Pablo Sandoval that you don't even know is on the Atlanta Braves to start the season. Like, yeah, that's cool. That just happens. But if you watch him pitch, his 2-seam fastball is beautiful. The thing moves so much. All of his stuff is dirty. I don't like if there's no one saying, if people are saying he's not an ace, they're absolutely insane. I don't care what anyone says anymore. You can't deny facts. Watch him pitch. He's awesome.
And that was my question. Who has ever said that Aaron Nola is not an ace? Like, since the day he came into the league, I mean, he was drafted high, and then he started high. He's literally been the best pitcher the Phillies have had since they lost Cole Hamels. And then all the other aces. Yeah, he's filthy. So who has ever said that he's not an ace?
Maybe because his name, I don't know. Does his name come up often in conversations about this, or he could be a pretty underrated player if his name isn't
he sits around the Cy Young talks, but he then just like drifts away at some point because the Phillies sometimes don't back him up. It's not as bad as the DeGrom situation, but that's what
he had a bad COVID season, and then the year before that he was in the top 5 in the Cy Young voting.
Was it 2019 or 2018?
It could have been. Honestly, I don't even know anymore. The whole COVID
but that's what I'm saying. He's like he just kind of like drifts off into out of the talks, and it's like, dude, like this guy needs. I just want him to be consistent all the way through, and I want a Cy Young campaign from him because he's so fucking good, and his pitches are so dirty. Like, I don't know. I after that game the other day, I was excited. And I was just like, hey, can we talk about how Aaron Nola is an ace, real quick, please?
I mean, I unfortunately don't get Philly sports games out here, so I can't tell you that. But speaking of let's go. Speaking of baseball, I mean, I guess you could kind of segue into our next topic. And Steve, speaking of the Yankees being soft, which league is softer, the MLB or the NBA?
Honestly, I can't decide because both have such bad qualities coming out in recent years. For the NBA, there's just this plague of players. Once you hit a certain star power, you can't play a full season, or you have to have your minutes managed. Like, load management is a term that I've never heard before until the last 4 or 5 years. Load management. So I just can't say. You got Kyrie Irving that literally plays when he feels like it. You have that level of, when the players have that much control, I don't know how you could coach them. So you have a soft league on that side. Then you look at the MLB, where the number 100, if a pitcher hits 100, his arm is going to fall off the next time he throws a ball. Like, just that mentality of we can't overextend the players. When you mentioned the Aaron Nola complete game, Zach, yes, that's something that you don't see anymore because pitchers can't throw past 100 pitches or they can't go past the 8th inning. So, yeah, I don't know which one league is softer. What do you guys think?
I mean, I think it's the NBA. I mean, considering like the way the rules are now, you make slight contact with a guy, it's a foul. If you're an NBA team and you don't score 100 points that game, you must have really shit the bed offensively.
Unless the Sixers are playing bully ball like they have been in recent years.
They've been like one of the tougher teams, and it's not even trying to be biased. Like, Embiid and Simmons are locked down on defense sometimes, and but yeah,
To
I do
be
feel the
biased.
NBA. I do think the NBA is a little bit so. I don't think either league is like soft. I don't like saying that, but at the same time, yeah, I mean like the NBA with guys just being like they literally colluding with each other to create super teams, and then you just know how to play. You know who's going to be in the playoffs, and then you just pray that the team that isn't supposed to lose that series wins the series. Or wait, did I say that right? I did not say that right. You know what I mean. You want the underdog to win, but like it probably won't happen. And last year I was rooting for the Heat so hard, but I was like, you're not going to beat LeBron James and the Lakers and the.
And Zach, I think you cut out again. Yeah, Zach, you lagged for like a good 5 seconds. Can you go again?
I basically think the Lakers championship was kind of generated like by LeBron's sheer willpower to like make a team that's going to win the championship no matter what.
Super teams have ruined the NBA for me.
Yeah, people will probably, you know, I know a handful of people were saying that championship was rigged, considering, you know, the whole Kobe death and whatnot.
I wouldn't even say rigged, but I mean, like, it just, he felt like it was going to happen. Like, that's why the Sixers, like, people should really enjoy the Sixers, because Embiid is fun to watch. Simmons just does his job really well. And Tobias Harris with, like, Doc Rivers coaching, he's just really good. He's so bad when Brett Brown was coaching. Like, it doesn't make sense that when Doc Rivers comes in, all of a sudden he's shooting, like, 20 points per game. And some games, like when Embiid and Simmons are out, because they do have health issues sometimes, and he just goes off. And that's why the Sixers are good. They're not like a super team, but they're really damn good as long as those guys are on the court.
Like, I'm not a Philadelphia sports fan, but I'd like to see the Sixers go all the way this year.
That'd be kind of cool. That'd be. I don't even know if that's gonna happen, but
I mean, I would like to.
I would love to see it because they've been so close for so long.
In basketball, I'm a torn basketball fan because I did like the Knicks, I did like the Nets. I like both, but both really just. I mean, the Nets, yes, they got Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, Blake Griffin.
Super team.
They got a super team, but it's just like I'm tired of the super team formula because if that's the case,
it's boring.
Why have all these other teams play?
Why have the season?
Bucks, I like to see Milwaukee Bucks do well too. Because they were a team that were a no-name team, and Giannis is doing unbelievable over there, reviving basketball in that city. I mean, it's just, I remember, like, growing up and, like, watching the NBA, and that was a good time, like, the early 2000s, like, the 04 Detroit Pistons, Ben Wallace.
Speaking of the Pistons.
Phillips,
speaking of the Pistons.
Beginning of his prime, Carmelo Anthony when he was with the Denver Nuggets. Like Jason Kidd, Richard Jefferson, Kenya Martin on the Nets. That was like they weren't a certain team, but they were a good team. Like I miss those days, and now it's all about the money. It's all about super team. It's not about how LeBron plays. It's LeBron now owns the Boston Red Sox, partial ownership.
Speaking of the Pistons, going back to like today's NBA, I don't think you'd be able to see like the bad boy Pistons of like the mid '80s to early '90s. I don't think that team would be a thing in today's climate. And I love that team simply because they were bad guys, and they just owned it. But anyway, speaking of the NBA, that should be a good segue into our final coin toss topic. This one submitted by Dylan Feldman. Will the Knicks win a playoff series? Yes or no?
No.
I think ultimately this depends on the matchup because I do not see them necessarily beating the Sixers or the Nets. Yeah, I think they're a good team. They surprised a lot of people. Julius Randle really came into outplaying his contract, I think a lot of people would say.
He's been killing it lately.
Yeah, Tom Thibodeau really changed the culture there. I guess Dolan kind of realized my hands-off approach works for doing good things for the Rangers. Maybe I should do that for the Knicks. And the Knicks are doing things now. So, yeah, I don't think this is the year.
They'd be about 500 after so many games.
Yeah, I think this is the year for the Knicks to go to the playoffs, get their asses kicked, but you know what? They're putting themselves on the map. But as far as this year goes, if they go up against a super team first round, they're not winning at all.
Well, another thing is that a lot of teams ahead of them. Yes, there are a couple of super teams ahead of them, but there are a lot of just made teams that have playoff experience. And I could see the Knicks maybe winning one game in the first round of the series. I could see them falling into the playing round. I'm not gonna lie, but you know what? Like you said, it's they're not ready to compete yet at the playoffs. They can make the playoffs. Sounds like they will be making the playoffs with how everything's structured this season, but they're going to be 1-out. They may win one of the games, say the first playoff winning in God knows how long, but next year they know, like, hey, you know, we know what we have to do now. We're in a better direction, and let's keep going at it. Like let's just keep going.
Exactly.
That's why,
this is the year. This is the year for them to
go to a Knicks game and
see the Knicks.
See the Knicks do well. Not like see like, oh, what celebrities here, or oh, I want to see. I'm only here because LeBron's playing, or I'm only here because I remember a long time like it got to the point where the Knicks were so bad.
Yeah, but everyone does that. You always want to see the best players.
Because
that's what the NBA has been lately.
Parker.
Well, yeah, but that's what's going to happen.
But yeah, I think this is the year for the Knicks to, go to the playoffs, get their ass handed to them a little bit, but at the same time, put themselves on the map. Just let the other teams know, hey, we're coming. We're not ready yet, but, we're coming.
I mean, they were so bad for so long.
Play close games. Like, if they get blown out, like, get in playoffs and lose every game by 20 or 30 points, then maybe, you know what, it was too good to be true. We're going to see the same old Knicks of old next season. But if they can, like, because most likely they're going to make the playoffs and they're going to lose the series. But if every game is like they lose by 10 or they lose by 6 or you make it close or they they're down by 20, they came back and lost by 6, but like make a good run, then you could say, you know what, these Knicks are going to be these New York Knicks are going to be very dangerous next year. Yeah. They're going to turn more heads than they did this year. And I am hoping that for the Knicks. I am hoping that. They're not going to the playoff series this year, but next year they're going to surprise a lot of people.
Yeah, it's like it's like pre Bad Boy Pistons. This was before they were. The Pistons played their first playoff series with Isaiah Thomas. They lost in the first round to the Knicks, but they ended up forcing it to be to a deciding game. And you know what? They lost, but you know what? They sent the message, "Hey, we're coming." So. Yeah, anyway, thank you, Dylan Feldman, for the suggestion. If anyone else wants to come up with a suggestion for the coin toss, you could tweet to us on Instagram, or you could give us a suggestion on Instagram whenever we do ask a question. But yeah, any suggestions are greatly appreciated. All right, guys.
I had just one thing I wanted to add to that last point, and it's just, isn't this fun? Knicks win 6 games, and all of a sudden we're talking about maybe the playoffs. It's the whole thing of sometimes the underdog teams, you want to root for them. And it's weird calling the Knicks an underdog when they have Kevin Durant, but they're a garbage team.
Kevin Durant.
And, I'm sorry, the Nets. Sorry.
The Nets.
Yeah, I can't even get my New York basketball straight. Yeah, no, the Knicks, they have nobody. Well, they have, who would they just get from Duke? Barrett?
Yeah, RJ Barrett, and they drafted Obi Toppin from, I forget. So I want to say
the Knicks. The Knicks have nobody.
Yeah, you literally thought of the Nets. That's how like. But
how irrelevant.
Julius Randle's
this is fun.
Yeah, Julius Randle's been killing it lately. Like unbelievable, putting up like 30 a lot. It's
good for them. They're not going to win a playoff game, but hey, good on them.
Yeah.
I think they'll win a playoff game, not a series though. Definitely not a series. I think if they meet like Boston or the Sixers or the Nets, I think any of and they're in the same division as us. I mean, it's just.
Yep.
Any finals predictions?
First round, Knicks versus Nets, and then the Knicks upset the super team Nets.
I'd be so happy. But anyway, any NBA finals predictions?
Not at all. Sixers are going to be in it, though, and Dan even said he wants that to happen, so it's going to happen. Embiid's going to go off. I hope everyone stays healthy. Just fingers crossed, man. Let's just get this. Let's get past the second round. And there's no Kawhi Leonard to hit some miracle three-pointer. There's no Brett Brown coaching. There's no pandemic. Well, are they going to go into a bubble this year? Which, honestly, it worked really well during that. Let's get past the second round, and we're going to the finals. And I mean, I'm sure LeBron James and the Lakers will be there again because once LeBron James gets back on the court, they'll start winning games. Like easier.
Well, I know, like in the NHL, for example, with the All Canadian division, I've been reading some articles, been hearing some discussion. They're going to tell, like, after whoever comes out of the Canadian division in that playoff series, in that playoff set, they're going to be told, like, listen, regardless of what happens, you're going to play in America. I mean, right now, Bubble's most likely for the NHL, but like the NBA, Toronto Raptors. I feel bad for the Raptors because they can't play in their home venue. I understand we're in the middle of a COVID pandemic. I understand that right now their government recently put this whole legislation in order. Apparently under Section 22 of the Health Protection and Promotion Act, which was discussed today, reported by CBC Canada. Apparently, health officials have now the right to shut down a business at their discretion and their authority if more than 5 people contract COVID from said business within a 2-week span. And they're also going, and a couple of doctors that are part of that team are also recommending that the employees who are impacted by this, that the business owners compensate them for the time lost from working. So right now,
that sounds like bullshit.
Serious in Canada. I know things get a little serious now in Canada, especially with the variant. We saw what happened to the Vancouver Canucks. I'm sorry, I'm segueing from the NBA back to hockey. The team, 17 players placed on COVID protocols. A couple people, varying degrees of how they're handling COVID. Good to see them back playing on the ice. Hopefully,
Yes.
Canada does what they feel is best for their citizens.
That's your Demko. Get healthy. I need you for the playoffs.
Back in Canada, the Raptors back in Canada, Boston, Montreal playoff series, Toronto, Boston games. Especially when the Seattle Kraken become an expansion team, to see that Cascadia region rivalry between Vancouver and Seattle. It's. You hope for the best for everyone.
All right, I'll bite. Dan, I'll take you up. I say we keep the Canadian teams. At this point, Canada doesn't deserve any of them. If they're going to play that, screw them. Let's keep them. Let's put them somewhere else here. We've got plenty of space. We could find room for what they got, like 5 or 6 teams. Come on, let's keep them. Let's just keep
Oklahoma City Maple Leafs.
Hold on, no. Seriously, what is Canada gonna do? What's Canada gonna do? Are they gonna come and take them? Yeah, let's see that happen. All right, Canada, come get your teams back. That's cute.
The Oklahoma City Maple Leafs.
Yeah. You want a coin flip suggestion? I got a coin flip suggestion for you. Let's go to baseball. Toronto Blue Jays, are they ever going to be playing in Canada this year? Yes or no?
No.
That's a no from what you just said.
Yeah.
Everything you just said explained why we should keep the Toronto Blue Jays and just make them the Buffalo Blue Jays. Wait, that kind of rolls off the tongue.
Buffalo Blue Jays.
Look, guys, someone. Like, should I throw like, we got to start this. We're going to make a startup company and we're going to start the Buffalo Blue Jays. Wait, is that going to be our new minor league team name? We're just going to rise through the ranks?
Mate?
Here's a fun fact about Buffalo. Salin Field, where the Buffalo Bison's AAA team plays, which is now going to be the new home for the Toronto Blue Jays the rest of the year. They did start the season today in Florida. It's going to be too hot to play in Florida. They're moving to Buffalo, and their AAA team is going to be displaced.
Hold on.
Guess where they're playing? Trenton.
Did you play? It's too hot.
After the Trent Thunder was
too hot
out of the recent
in Florida. In Florida, Steve.
It's too hot to play baseball in Florida. Can you say that again for like the Dominican leagues? It's too hot to play in Florida.
Yeah, dude.
What kind? Okay, you know what?
It's going to be a problem for these players. That's what they're saying.
I think we've solved the debate. MLB.
Yeah, MLB is soft.
MLB is the softest. Are you kidding me? MLB is the softest league. Too hot in Florida?
Yeah, apparently that's what I've been reading.
That's embarrassing. That is embarrassing.
It's a hot climate. I mean, if you look, like, for example, like if you look at the rookie leagues, the Gulf Coast leagues, a lot of their games are played at 10 in the morning or late at night because of the humidity. So I get it, but at the same time, though, look at what you're doing. You're going to Buffalo.
So we've trained our leagues to be soft. At the lowest levels, we've told them we can't play in the heat. You can't.
That's pretty much pissed at minor league baseball and Major League Baseball Rob Manfred for kicking out their beloved Trenton Thunder to Somerset and allow for some makeshift collegiate summer league to take its place. And now you're the AAA, and now they got AAA back. It's a whole crazy thing. But I'm telling you right now, and another thing that people don't forget is that the reason why I say a Buffalo Blue Jays is going to become reality is because they're looking to tear down the Rogers Center. In November 2020, a few months ago, the Rogers Center is pulling out a page from the Boston Red Sox playbook, and they're going to apparently the rumor is they were going to renovate the Rogers Center, but instead, nope, they're going to tear it down. They're going to build a new stadium in its place as part of massive redevelopment. So in reality, Rogers Center is on its last leg. Literally, it's going to go soon. But how can you have redevelopment and hope for a baseball team to play there if no team is going to play there?
That's some in-depth shit there,
and that's
Dan.
the thing. I want the Blue Jays in Toronto. It's cool, you know.
Let's get the Buffalo Blue
I
Jays.
want
Let's get the Buffalo Blue Jays.
I want Vancouver to get a baseball team. Like, you know, like I want to see expansion into Canada because it is a great market. There are good baseball fans out there. I want the Expos back. But
yeah, but if you're going to get folded because 5 people get COVID, then fuck
like,
them.
Oh, you know, in Canada, you know, it's so bad they're going to eventually play in the United States. People are like, oh, you're crazy. But this could be a reality. They're already saying they want to tear it down.
And that's a good thing. More baseball for America.
Blue Jays?
It's our fucking pastime.
Jeez.
And like I said, Sally Field, though it's 18,000 seats, it was initially built to attract a Major League Baseball team in the early 90s. Could this be something they're making? I don't know. Hopefully, I would like to see Toronto Blue Jays back in Toronto. You know, the Canadian baseball fans deserve to have their baseball team back. And like I said, I want to see the Expos, and I would like to see a team potentially go to Vancouver in expansion. But it could be a possibility that we may not have a Canadian representation in Major League Baseball in the next coming years. And, you know, unfortunately with everything going on, you know, it's whether or not you agree or disagree with how Canada's handling the COVID-19 vaccine and how they protect their citizens and the new recent variants. But, you know, there could be something happening now where the Buffalo Blue Jays may become reality.
It certainly seems that way.
Why don't we have any teams from Mexico?
Actually,
serious question
very
here.
Interesting.
Canada
Well,
doesn't
very
deserve it
interesting.
at this point. Fuck you, Canada.
Regular season games, they've hosted neutral site contests in Mexico City from time to time, and they actually had mentioned Mexico City having a Major League Baseball team, but the current stadiums there in Mexico City are not up to MLB standard. So just a matter of finding the right investors to make the necessary upgrades to attract Major League Baseball there.
What would the Mexico City team be? What would be
Blue Jays?
What would be the Mexico City Blue
Mexico
Jays?
City Blue Jays.
We're just moving the Blue Jays all over the continent at this point.
Oh
Just
my
take
God.
the pin, drop it somewhere else. I love it.
We're the NFL. Let's put them in London. The London Blue Jays.
That would be the biggest competitive advantage
You know what?
for the United States teams.
AL West, so they have to travel 5,000 miles to play a divisional opponent every time.
Jesus. Is there any more coin toss topics? I'm looking here.
I mean, I don't know if that necessarily was a coin toss topic, but anyway, we got a couple more subjects tonight. Let's see. How long have we been talking tonight? About
Fans aren't
48
sick of us yet.
yeah.
They probably turned it off after my whole Rangers rant earlier.
Now-
They're probably like, "This guy's an idiot." Click.
a couple. Let's get into a couple more. 5 minutes. Jets apparently want Richard Sherman, which makes sense. He goes back with their new coach Robert Saleh. I think it would be a good veteran move to add to the team, but I don't think he's the player he once was. I think he's probably a dinosaur at this point.
Don't you ever talk about him.
Oh yeah.
Dude, he's solid, but he's getting old, man. He gets injured now. Like that's what happens to football players when they get older. They get more injuries and they start slowing down. Look at Deshaun Jackson when he was on the Eagles. Look at
you're bringing him in to be a mentor at that point.
Yeah, Richard Sherman. You just hope he comes in, and I mean he's still good when he's on the field. You just gotta hope he stays on the field. And I mean Robert Saleh could just start recruiting that guy to be a coach. I think Richard Sherman's very smart. He's a very smart person and
Stanford,
very very smart football player. He could be a coach, and I mean if him and Saleh, he could be a real captain of that defense for the Jets. And the Jets, I think everything. I want to see how this draft goes. Which quarterback they take. I think it's going to be Zach Wilson. We all think it's going to be Zach Wilson, which is insane to think about. BYU quarterback, but hey, I mean they apparently love him. They're going to roll with him. He's going to start, and hopefully Saleh's defense is good and Wilson does good, and the Jets could actually. I really think they could be competitive. And now that there's 17 games, they have more chances.
I'll be happy if they go 7-10 10 or maybe 6 and 11.
That
I
doesn't
think-
sound natural to say. 7 and
That's not
10.
natural at all. It's an extra game. If anything, the NFL should reduce the number of games in regular season and extend the playoff.
All right. Anyway,
But that's
I'd love to.
It's
I'd
no
love to hear that
secret
proposal.
Trevor Lawrence is going to the Jaguars. He was married recently, and Jacksonville Jaguar fans. He's not even drafted by the Jaguars yet. Jaguars fans are sending him wedding gifts.
I hope the Jaguars don't draft him now. Just
Oh
because
my
it'd be the
God.
funniest fucking thing
And
I've
apparently, he
ever
has
heard.
gratitude.
and I'd be screaming at the top of my lungs, "Draft him! Draft him!"
We got
Anyway.
you at the charcuterie board set you always wanted. Now come play for the Jaguars.
Could you imagine if the Jaguars don't take Trevor Lawrence, then the Jets are gonna pull a Minnesota Vikings staff and just laugh at them for like, oh my God, I
Dude,
can't believe they didn't
really
take.
are.
They didn't take the guy.
Jets didn't have Dan Marino when he was available.
Oh God, I wasn't around for that, but don't remind me. Anyway, our final subject of the night. So, boys, you see A-Rod's weird little shrine to J-Lo?
Yes,
I didn't,
did.
but I heard. Is it kind of like
How
the?
do you cheat
is it the
against
Helga
Jennifer
shrine on-
Lopez? What is up with
Yo,
this?
Steve, it is. It's kind of like a cute little one. Yeah, it could be.
It's J-Lo. It's J-Lo.
I think
Oh
you got
my
CC.
God! Oh, that was beautiful. The Helga shrine. Oh God, I gotta
I
make that a
legitimately
meme now.
haven't seen it, but that's what I'm picturing in my mind. Like, A-Rod just has this shrine of J-Lo in his closet where he has like a piece of her hair, and he finally got her hat to put on.
But no,
Dude,
it's not quite like that. But basically, it's like, pictures of them together with J-Lo's kids, with the like little heart in the sand that says Alex and Jennifer or whatever. And you hear
Look at it right now.
yeah, and
All
you
I'm
hear
looking right now is all you need is Helga Pataki to assist with the shrine.
I gotta make. I'm making that a meme. I'm posting it tonight before this episode airs. No one, absolutely no one. Alex Rodriguez and his Helga Pataki in front of the shrine.
Oh my God. Yes. Oh my God, you have to replace all the. Hey, you have to replace all. I'm sorry. You have to replace all the Arnold stuff with the.
J-Lo,
with,
yeah, I gotta
J-Lo
replace
now.
with J-Lo.
That's so
But-
fucking weird.
But yeah,
Oh my God.
and he was playing "Fix You" by Coldplay in the background.
Stop. Are you
yeah,
kidding?
dude. There was candles
Ugh.
and shit. It was weird. It was really
Are
Are
weird.
we
sad. I
playing
remember
like
in
real life
2004.
tweet like a high school girl?
Yeah.
It must be.
I remember was back in 2004. I was jumping for joy in 6th grade, bragging to everyone, Yankees got A-Rod, we got A-Rod, we're going to win 100 championships in the years to come. And then now A-Rod's presence on the Yankees has saddened me, knowing now that he does these things and basically almost ruined baseball completely for everyone. And just why would you cheat on J-Lo?
Did he cheat on J-Lo?
Did he cheat on J-Lo?
This is my first time hearing about it. I don't get involved in like celebrities' lives because I don't care. But when I see something that weird, I just can't help but make an opinion on it. This was my face watching that.
Yeah, that's just.
Yeah, that was my face watching that.
This is why I hate social media too, because he could do that and just give it to her, and it's a really nice, thoughtful gesture. But he clearly didn't do that. He did this to be like, "Hey,
Guilt
world,
her, yeah.
look what I did." Like, I hate all you people. You're all fake. I hate it.
Oh, jeez.
Everyone does that kind of thing. Like, you're fake. Just do it. Send it to that person. He's doing that for J-Lo, but if he's posting it, he's not doing it for J-Lo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's doing that for clout. But yeah.
Clout.
Anyway, I think
But,
we had a pretty good episode tonight here, boys.
Oh,
We
wait a
talked.
minute.
We covered a lot.
And another crazy about A-Rod before we go is, in addition, relating to other sports, he doesn't buy the New York Mets, but it becomes part of the Minnesota Timberwolves.
We don't know. We don't know, man. A-Rod is clearly just weird.
He's in
He's
his
not,
own
he's not a good
world.
commentator either. He's not a good commentator either.
Oh, he's terrible on ESPN. I'm sorry, but geez,
Awful.
he adds nothing to the broadcast. He's worse than Joe Buck.
Oh God! Don't
Game
even
7, a
think
must win for both teams.
Yeah.
Jeez. Freaking
Oh my goodness.
Booger McFarlane level.
I would take Booger over A-Rod any day.
I probably would
Like,
too.
At least Booger is like stupid funny. Like some of the stuff he says is just so dumb. Like, all right, it's kind of funny.
Like Tommy Wiseau from The Room funny.
Oh my god.
You're tearing me apart, A-Rod.
Anyway, if we get into that, we're never going to leave. But anyway, if you've made it this far, thank you very much for listening. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe. Be sure to subscribe to us on all our platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, whichever you follow. And be sure to follow us on all our social media platforms. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at FUNTS Podcast, and on Facebook at Fat Unathletic Nerds Talking Sports. This is Lonny, alongside Darley, Brick Walters, and Zach Danielz. Have a wonderful night, everyone.
See you.
Have a good night, America. Have a good night. Bye. Have a good night, world.